Welcome to English Stories. Here, you'll improve your English by listening to real, clear stories, slowly told and easy to follow. Helen Keller was born on June 27, 1880, in a small town called Tuscumbia in Alabama, USA. She was a healthy and happy baby. Her parents loved her very much. Helen grew up in a big house with her family. When she was just 19 months old, Helen became very sick. The doctors did not know exactly what disease she had, but it made her lose her sight and hearing. Suddenly, Helen lived in a world that was very dark and very quiet. She could not see her mother's face or hear her father's voice. She could not even hear the sound of birds or the water in the river. This made Helen very scared and angry. She wanted to communicate, but she did not know how. She could not talk or listen. She used her hands to touch things and people, but she often became frustrated. Her family tried to help, but they did not understand what she needed. Helen's behavior changed. Sometimes she screamed or cried. Other times, she was quiet and alone. Even though Helen was a little girl, she had a strong spirit inside her. She wanted to learn and to be free from her silent and dark world. Her parents searched for ways to help her. They heard about a teacher who could help children like Helen. They hoped this teacher could bring light to Helen's life. Helen's early days were hard, but her story was only beginning. 3 important words to remember are communicate, frustrated, and spirit. One useful sentence structure is she could not blank or blank. For example, she could not see or hear. Helen's silent world was full of challenges, but also hope.
Anne Sullivan came to Helen Keller's house when Helen was 7 years old. Anne was a young woman with only one good eye. She had also faced many difficulties in her own life, so she understood how Helen felt. Anne was patient and kind. At first, Helen did not want to learn. She was angry and did not trust Anne. Helen often threw tantrums and did not listen. Anne knew she had to be strong and clever. She used a special method to teach Helen. Anne put Helen's hand under water and spelled the word W-A-T-E-R into her other hand using finger signs. Helen did not understand at first, but then a miracle happened. Helen realized that the cool water and the finger signs meant the same thing. This moment changed everything. Helen's face showed surprise and joy. She wanted to learn more words. Anne continued teaching her every day. She spelled names of objects, letters, and feelings into Helen's hand. Slowly, Helen's mind opened like a flower in the sun. She learned to communicate with people around her. Helen's world was no longer completely silent and dark. She could feel the beauty of language through her hands. This new way of learning took time and hard work, but Helen never gave up. Anne and Helen became friends and partners in learning. 3 important words to remember are patient, miracle, and communicate. One useful sentence structure is she did not at first, but then happened. For example, she did not understand at first, but then a miracle happened. Helen's breakthrough with Anne was the first step toward a bright future.
After learning the word water, Helen Keller's world began to change. She wanted to know the names of many things around her. Anne Sullivan taught Helen by spelling words into her hand all day long. Helen learned the names of objects in the house, flowers in the garden, and animals on the farm. She felt the soft petals of a rose and learned its name. Helen also learned to read Braille, a special writing system for people who cannot see. With her fingers, she read books and stories. Helen practiced writing too, using a typewriter made for the blind. She loved to explore nature. Sometimes Anne took her to the woods, where Helen could feel the trees, the leaves, and the soil. She smelled the fresh air and heard birds singing. Helen learned about the world through her hands, nose, and heart. Anne also helped Helen learn to speak. It was very difficult, but Helen tried very hard. She practiced moving her lips and tongue to make sounds. Helen dreamed of going to college one day, even though many people thought it was impossible for a deaf-blind person. She wanted to show the world that she could learn and do great things. Helen's journey to learning was full of wonder and courage. 3 important words to remember are explore, practice, and determination. One useful sentence structure is, she wanted to blank, even though blank. For example, she wanted to go to college even though many people thought it was impossible. Helen's journey to learning was full of wonder and courage.
Helen Keller's hard work continued as she grew older. She faced many challenges, but she never gave up. With Anne Sullivan's help, Helen went to a special school for blind and deaf children. There, she met other students who had similar difficulties. Helen learned not only reading and writing, but also history, math, and science. She worked hard every day, studying for hours. Sometimes learning was frustrating and tiring, but Helen's determination kept her going. Her family and teachers believed in her, and that gave her strength. Helen's success inspired many people around her. When she was young, some people thought Helen could never speak or learn, but she proved them wrong. Later, Helen attended Radcliffe College, a famous university in the United States. She was the first deaf-blind person to earn a college degree. Helen's journey was difficult, but her courage and spirit showed the world what is possible. She used her story to help others with disabilities. Helen spoke about the importance of education and kindness. She wanted everyone to know that people with disabilities could live full and happy lives. 3 important words to remember are challenge, inspire, and determination. One useful sentence structure is, she never blank, even when blank. For example, she never gave up, even when learning was frustrating. Helen's achievements remind us that courage and hard work can change the world. Helen Keller's life was full of achievements and kindness. She worked to help people with disabilities. Helen gave speeches and wrote books to share her story. She wanted the world to understand that people with disabilities have value and dreams. Helen traveled to many countries and met important leaders. She showed everyone that hard work and hope can overcome difficulties. Helen's friendship with Anne Sullivan lasted many years. Anne was not only her teacher, but also her close friend and helper. Together, they faced many challenges, but never lost hope. Helen believed that everyone should be treated with respect and kindness. She used her life to teach people about courage and love. Helen's story teaches us that no matter what difficulties we face, we can still achieve great things. Remember the 3 key words: achievement, kindness, and courage. A useful sentence structure is, no matter what, we can still blank. For example, no matter what difficulties we face, we can still achieve great things. Now, think about this question. How can we help people who face challenges in life? Thank you for listening to Helen Keller's story.